Hello and welcome to Spread Book Joy. Today is my May wrap up where I talk about all the books I read in the month of May. If you're new to the channel, I'm Jack, and today I'm going to talk to you about all the books I finished in the month of May, starting with, this is the first one I finished, Cinderella is Dead. I've actually got a video on this, so I'm not going to talk about it at length, but it's a YA Cinderella retelling. Look at the cover, love the cover, beautiful. And I really enjoyed it. It's a debut novel from Kaylin Bayron, and I'm really looking forward to her next book, which is coming out this month, I believe, which is called This Poisonous Heart, or This Poison Heart. But this is a Cinderella retelling, and it's a dark version where it's a dystopian version of the Cinderella story. 200 years later, the story is still affecting the life of Sophia, who is the main protagonist, and Sophia has to go to the ball to be picked by a husband. Problem is, Sophia doesn't want a husband. Sophia is in love with another girl. So it's a sapphic romance as well. It's very anti-patriarchal, and yeah, I like the messages in it. I think it was well written, and I'm excited to read more from this author. Next up, I read The Hatmakers. I've also got a video for that, so I won't talk about that too long. It's by Tamsin Merchant, who is an actress. It's her debut novel, middle grade fantasy, and it's set in an alternative version of Georgian London, and it's all about a family, like a magical millinery family, a magical hatmakers family. And Cordelia, who is the protagonist, she's trying to find out what happened to her father. Her father has been lost at sea, and it's just really lovely, really very funny, very humorous, and like full of magic, and it's just a really nice book. I've got a video on that as well, so I'll pop the card up for you so you can have a look at that in your own time. Next up, I read a Letters of Note collection. This was by this was gifted to me by the Tandem Collective. So I was given this book as part of a read along for the Tandem Collective to give my review on it, and didn't tell us which one we were going to get. I got the one on dogs. I don't have a dog. I have a cat. I would love a dog. I talked about this in my blog, my first vlog, not blog, that I did this month. And I enjoyed this because I actually really love the Letters of Note website, which is amazing letters all throughout history from famous people. People just don't. It's a lost art, isn't it? People just don't write things like that anymore. The descriptions and the language that are used. Anyway, the one I got, they've basically released a load of different ones on different subjects, and love and sex and all sorts of things. I got the one on dogs, which when I initially got it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's about dogs. But it was really sweet. Not saying I necessarily would recommend it to anyone who doesn't have a dog. If you don't have a dog, you're not interested in dogs, this probably wouldn't interest you. But Letters of Note, the series, I can recommend. If you go to the website and check it out, just some of those letters, amazing writing. Next up was also another Tandem Collective read along. This one was one that I wasn't gifted. I bought the audiobook because I've never done an audiobook buddy read along before, and I'd never really listened to a thriller on audiobook before, but this was a thriller called Trust Me by T.M. Logan. Never read anything by T.M. Logan, but the premise is that a woman is on a train and another woman gets on the train, and she sits down with her and she has a baby, and she asks her to look after the baby while she goes to make a phone call, and then she gets off the train, this woman, and leaves this other woman with the baby. So then it just starts on this mad adventure, and yeah, lots of crazy things happen. Without spoiling the book, loads of stuff happens. Thrillers, I've never read any that I don't know, I like a thriller, but thrillers, there are certain things about some of them that annoy me. Certain decisions made by characters I just find really ridiculous. Sometimes I know they have to happen because plot. I did enjoy Trust Me. It did keep me going. I liked the writing style. I thought it was well plotted. I don't think I liked the main character, and I don't think I connected with her, and maybe that's because of the narrator. But if you like thrillers, I think it was a decent one, worth giving a listen to, or a read if you don't want to listen to the audiobook. Next up, I finished a reread of The Fifth Elephant. I'm working my way through the Guards sequence, rereading the Guards City Watch sequence from Terry Pratchett's Discworld at the moment, and I'm nearing the end of it and I'm absolutely loving it. Fifth Elephant is the one where they leave Ankh-Morpork, which is the city where the guards are policing, and Commander Vimes, if you're familiar with Discworld, Commander Vimes is sent out as a diplomat to Uberwald, which is it's kind of like, it's supposed to be like some Transylvania style country. There are vampires and werewolves and all sorts of things. Anyway, brilliant, really enjoyed that. Then I read an advanced reader copy of Children of the Quicksands by F. Traore, which was published this week on the 3rd of June. It's a brilliant new middle grade magical realism book set in Nigeria. I loved it, and I've got a full review of that. And it was a real read-along month for me. I read The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. Again, this was gifted to me by the Tandem Collective, and I took part in the read-along, and I loved it. This is the sort of book that I really enjoy. It's a historical mystery, and he wrote The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hugo Hardcastle. I never remember which one it is, because I know there was another book with Evelyns and Sevens in it this year. Or in the last few years. It's set on a boat going back from the East Indies. It's a Dutch ship sailing back to Amsterdam in 1634, and on board there are lots of dignitaries, and the governor of the province is going back to Amsterdam, and they've taken a prisoner, and the prisoner is someone called Sammy Pipps, who is a famous detective. And as we start, he's being imprisoned on the ship, and then the ship is cursed from the very outset of the voyage by a leper on the dock. And then as they're out to sea, it's dangerous enough a voyage anyway, and then strange things start to happen, and mysterious things and horrific things and murders. And Sammy is locked away, and his bodyguard, who's called Arent Hayes, this big guy who's generally just his bodyguard, has to try and find out what's going on. And I loved it. Very long book. I think for some people might have found, and the group that I was in found the pace a bit slow. I didn't, because I just liked the content. I think the characters were great, and there was enough of a plot to keep me guessing, and I just loved that kind of setting, so I was all about that. Very complex plot, and it's very intricate. At the end it felt a little rushed to me, but then I thought, I'm not sure quite how it wouldn't have been rushed, because once everything starts coming out, things would come out in a rush. I don't know, but it was also quite convoluted, but I did enjoy it. It definitely makes me want to read more from this author going forward. I liked his style, and he wrote a really funny letter at the back of the book as well about it. So if you like historical mystery, I would give it a go. And the last thing that I finished in May was Julia and the Shark, which turned up at my house on Friday or Saturday, and I was so over the moon, because it's an advanced reader copy. It doesn't come out till September, of one of my favourite authors, who's Kieran Millwood Hargrave, and she's written a new middle grade book and illustrated by her husband Tom DeFreston, who is an artist. So it's a collaboration between the two of them, and the cover of it, I didn't even have to know what it's about. She's one of my go-to, I will buy her book authors. I haven't read everything by her still. I'm just working my way through her back catalogue now, but she's become a real favourite of mine. I love her writing style, and I gush a bit about her in my recent bookshop visit where I bought another of her books. But I've read it, I'm still digesting it, I'm not ready to review it, but there'll be a video coming out about this soon. So that was it for me in the month of May. Not as good as April. I only read 8 books, but it's quality, not quantity, right? And I think the books that I've read, I really enjoyed. Still reading A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce as part of a read-along that you might have seen in my recent reading vlog. We're doing a section a week, and I think this week is the last section. So it's interesting. I'm glad I've read it. But I'll have thoughts on it at another point when I talk about it, maybe in my next reading wrap up. I'm also still in the middle of the next Guards City Watch book, The Night Watch. It was just called Night Watch, and that's really, really good. And I'm reading Me, My Dad and the End of the Rainbow. I put that on hold. I started that in my reading vlog, and I put it on hold because I had so many other books just come in that I had to be committed to. One thing I would say is, as a mood reader, I have found this month really hard. It's not that all the books that I've read for these things aren't books I wanted to read. I did. But I found that my reading being dictated by outside forces, if you like, doesn't really suit me. So I'm going to be really careful about taking on any read-alongs, buddy reads, etc. Going forward. I've got 2 coming up that I'm really, really excited about, and they're nicely spaced out. But this month for me, I think the majority of the books that I read were part of something else, and I've still got 2 NetGalley arcs that I need to read, and I've still got a buddy read I need to do for someone else. That is a book I do really want to read though, by the way, which I am looking forward to, but it's a strange one for me. I don't know, how do you feel about read-alongs and buddy reads and that kind of thing? Because yeah, it's a strange one. All the books that I read this month, let me think, 4 of them were sent to me. 1 of them I bought to take part in a read along, the audio, but yeah, it was just too much all in one go. So I'm going to be really careful about taking on arcs and buddy reads and read-alongs and all sorts of things for the moment. I'm going to try and space them out so that I don't really do more than 1 a month. Which is a shame, because I think as part of the community, it's a really good part of the community to be able to discuss things with other people. But I'm such a mood reader. Certain points this month, I really fancied just dipping into certain genres and following my nose on a particular thing when I was like, oh, that's a really interesting subject. Or I'd see a book on BookTube or Instagram and I'd be like, I want to read that or I want to get that. And I've not been able to. So didn't quite work for me. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to take part in read-alongs and buddy reads. It just means I need to cut down on them and not do so many in one go. So how was your reading month? Please let me know in the comments. And if you like this video and you've never been here before, hey, hello, nice to see you. Please click like and subscribe if you want to do so. If you don't want to do so, that's fine. But if you do subscribe, make sure you ring the notification bell so you know when my videos come up. I post videos on a Wednesday and a Saturday, and hopefully I'll see you again here soon. Bye.